Everyone, once again welcome to this session of our class. So we have already started a chapter from chemistry, that is matter and its composition, in our first lecture, and we have seen so many things about this chapter. What is matter, and what are the things we are looking in around, whether it is living or non-living, so or whether it is solid, liquid or gas. Each and everything will be made by a matter, right? And with the help of the matter which it's made, then we have seen what is matter. So it's a raw material, you can also say. It is all the things will made by the matter. Then we have seen different means the definition of the matter. It will whether anything that will occupy the space and having the mass. And we have seen different activities which will prove you that how the any kind of the matter will have the mass and occupy the space, right? Then we have ended in the lecture, that is our last lecture, that is composition characteristics of a matter. What is actually made to the matter, what is the smallest quantity of the matter. So we have said it's the atom made the molecules, and molecule made the matter. So we will just in this lecture we will talk in detail what is composition and characteristics of matter, what are the characteristics of matter. So already we have seen, now you know that all the things will be substances will made by the matter, but what the things will made to the matter. So understand to this, there is one more activity. With the help of this activity we can understand what is matter and how it is made. So for that you have to take a sheet of a paper sheet, then just fold it into two pieces and then just tear it again the two parts. So on the smallest part again it will just you have to fold it and tear it. So like this you will just convert one sheet to a small bits of paper, right? But you just notice by looking at the bits of the paper that still can clearly understand that is it's a paper. You just looking the smallest bits of the paper, you just clearly say that is a bits of paper, right? It's not changing its composition, it's not changing its characteristics. After looking to the small pieces of the paper also we can imagine, we can say that these are the bits of the paper. So by looking at this you can clearly say this is the bits of the paper, because it's not changing its characteristics. And hence we can conclude that the paper, a kind of matter, it's made up of a tiny particles which exhibits all the property of the paper, that is matter. Whatever the smallest amount or whatever the smallest quantity of the matter which will having all the characteristics of the matter, right? So hence we can say the paper or the bits of the paper are the tiny particles which are exhibits all the property of paper. Whether it is going to be divided into smaller and smaller quantity, it will not change its property. The property of the paper will becoming same. So the property of any matter will not change, and it is dividing into smaller and smaller particles. So that is why it is called the atom. So matter is made up of extremely small particles called atoms. Like we have divided a sheet of paper into small bit of paper, but the property of the bit of the paper, that is same the property of a paper or a sheet. So that is why we can also say the matter is made up of the extremely small particle called the atom. So many small particles of the atoms will come together, and this is the atom is the smallest quantity of any matter. Any matter will having a small quantity, that is called the atoms. So you can say with the small atoms we can make the matter. So note, here is a note that earlier it was thought that all the kind of the matter are made up of air, means this is our old people, this is our ancient people, they are think anything is made by this kind of the five things, that is air, water, earth, sky and fire. This is all means their imagination before. And then the later on Kannada, an Indian philosopher, and then John Dalton, an English scientist, proposed that all the kind of the matter are made up of atom. They are said no, it's not like that. All the five things are there to make solid, liquid or gas, anything. There is the atom, there is the name of the atoms. This is the smallest quantity of any kind of the matter or atom. Any kind of the means things are around us, so that will made by the atom. So this is the theory will be proposed by this two scientists, philosopher and scientist. Then the world going to know that what is atom. So an atom is the smallest possible unit of the matter. what are the possibilities of to divide the matter into the smaller and smaller particles. So that is called the atom, that exhibits all the property of that matter. That the smallest quantity is still having all the property will be not changed, all the property of the same matter, whether it is divided into smaller and small parts. So atom usually do not have independent existence. The single atom will not exhibit by alone, it should be combined with other atoms. So atom usually do not have independent existence, therefore they combine with to another atoms to form the another minute particle called molecules. Now the atom, we have already said, that is the smallest quantity of any matter, but the atom cannot be exist alone. So that is why it should be the atom will combine to another atom to make a smallest quantity like molecule. So now we will just see the sequence. First of all, the smallest quantity is atom cannot be exhibit alone, so that is why it will be attached to another atom and it will make the molecules. So now it will be in the form of molecule, then so many molecules will come together and it will make the any matter, and with the matter we will make any kind of the thing. So this is the matter which is smallest quantity, and the molecule will be not, atom will be not exist alone, so it will combine to another atom to make different kind of the molecules, and with the molecules will make a different matter. So this is the sequence. A molecule is the smallest unit of matter which exhibits all the properties of the kind of the matter. Now the molecule is also very small, and you cannot see the molecule, you cannot see the atoms by your naked eyes. So and again we can see what is the molecule. So it will also the, you can say, is the smallest quantity, and it's still having or possessing all the characteristics of the matter, right? So molecule also having all the characteristics of the matter, and also has a independent existence. Now the molecule can be exist independently, like atom cannot be exist independently, but molecule can be exist independently, and it is also having all the characteristics of the matter. Like the small bit we have looked for the paper, so that the small bit will having all the characteristics of the paper. So like the whatever the molecules, like the molecule of water, the small molecule of the water also exhibits all the property of the water only, and it can be exist alone, right? So molecules are bigger than the atoms, right? Because we have already said number of atoms, more than one atoms will come together and they will make the molecule. That is why if you see the size of the atom, so that is size of the molecules, that is more than atom, because the atom is the smallest quantity. And however, both the particles are too small to be seen by through the naked eyes and through as ordinary microscope, whether we are talking about the atom or we are talking about the matter. So molecules, so both are the either the small, either we have said already the number of atoms will make the molecule, but molecule is still very small, that is microscopic, we cannot see by our naked eyes. A molecule can be formed of the atom of the same kind of the atom or different atoms, right? The molecules I said that is more than one molecules or more than one atoms, they will come together and they will make the molecule. So in that the atoms can be a same kind, or atoms can be a different kind of the two atoms can also come together and make the molecules, or same kind of the atom can also come together and they will make the molecule. There is no any condition that the same kind of the atom will require. So the same kind of the atom also make the molecule, and different kind of the atom can also come together and they can join and make the molecule. For that we can see this example, so it will more clear for you how it will made. So in this you can just take the example of this one, that is a hydrogen. To represent the hydrogen we just use this H. So this is one atom of hydrogen, this is another atom of hydrogen, these two atoms are there and they are coming together. H plus H means these two hydrogen molecules, they are combined together and they have made a molecule of hydrogen. This is 2H here, that is why it is a molecule. Here only one and one hydrogen are there, that is why it is an atom. Now here two hydrogen atoms are there, so it will make the molecule of hydrogen. So it can be just clarify, but in this case we are looking the example of same kind of the atom. hydrogen plus hydrogen, both are the atoms of hydrogen, and they combine together and they have made the molecule of hydrogen. So it will clear one more thing here. The smallest quantity is atom. When they are combined together, they will make the molecule, and it can be a same kind of the atom, it can be a different kind of the atom. This is the second example. This is example of nitrogen molecule is made up of two nitrogen atom. This is N represent for nitrogen, and this is for second atom. So these are the two atoms. So 1 plus 1, N plus N, 2N, two nitrogen atoms will make the one molecule of nitrogen, that is a N2. So here two nitrogen molecule, and they have made two nitrogen atoms, and they have made the molecules. So these both are the example of a same atom. Here also hydrogen plus hydrogen, here also nitrogen plus nitrogen, but this is the second example, that is for understanding a different kind of the atoms. They can also come together and they will make a molecule. Here H represent for hydrogen, and other H represent for hydrogen plus one oxygen. So here is two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom. It will make a H2O, that is a water molecule, right? So in the water molecule we can see two hydrogen atoms are there and one oxygen atom is there. So this is the example of different kind of the atoms will come together and they can also make the molecule. So this is the molecule like H2O, and it is having the two hydrogen atom and one oxygen atom. So like this we can be see for the molecule it can be a chance of same atoms can become together, and different kind of the atom also come together and they will make this. While we are talking about the carbon dioxide, CO2, a carbon dioxide molecule is made up of one carbon, this is one carbon and two oxygen. So it is called CO2. Here is one carbon, so there is a difference atoms are there. One atom of carbon is there and two atom of oxygen is there, and they are making the three atom molecule, that is called a carbon dioxide molecule. This is one molecule of carbon dioxide which is made actually with two oxygen and one carbon. So this is the example of the atoms which are different. The atoms are different in kind, but they are making a same molecule. Now number of molecule will join together and they will make a any matter. So that is why it is the smallest quantity of any kind of the matter, that is called the molecule. On the next, now we will start the characteristics of particles of matter. Right? What are the characteristics of the particle? Particle is the smallest quantity. So which kind of the characteristic they are having? So the properties of the matter can be explained on the basis of the arrangement and characteristics of the particles, that is atom and molecules form which they are formed. Means any kind of the matter we are looking, whether it is solid, whether it is gas, or whether it is liquid. So how it is make a different, means how the solid will make, how the gas will make, how the liquid will make, because as we have already discussed, all will make with the molecules. So it is depend upon the arrangement of the molecule, how they are arranged, how they are being together. So what are the arrangements, they will make a different kind of the matters, whether it is solid, liquid or gas. So particles of the matter have space between them. This space is called interparticular or intermolecular space. There are the different molecules are there, because already I have told you a number of molecules make the matter, number of atoms they come together and they have made the molecule. Now the number of molecules come together and they will make the matter. So in this matter, how the arrangement of the molecules are there. So there are the space between two molecules, right? One molecule of water and another molecule of water. So between the two molecule of the water, there is a space between that is called the intermolecular space. So arrangement or the gap between the two molecules, that will made a different kind of the matter, that is called the property of the matter. So it will make the water, it will make the liquid, solid or gas. The arrangement of the molecule of the water will change the state of the water, because when we are just talking about it's very good example. Water is a very good example which can be converted or which can be exist into all the three states, right? When you are having the water in a liquid state, when you freeze it, so it will become a solid ice form. When you again melt it, it will again becoming a liquid form. When you give heat to the water, it will become evaporate and it will convert into the gaseous form. So the molecules of the or the property will not change, water having all the characteristics the same, but it can be changed its state. It can be changed from liquid to solid, solid to gas, again from solid to liquid. That is because of the molecular arrangement. So when we are melting it, when we are freezing it, the arrangement or the gap between the molecules of the water will be changed, right? When it is in a liquid form, the gap is a little bit gap is there, intermolecular space. When you are freezing it, the molecules of the water will coming together and then it will make it a solid, right? So that is we will see in the detail. This can be shown by the following activities, how the molecules are there and how it will means having the gap between the molecules. So it is actually understand by this activity. In this, what you have to take a water into 2 glass, right? Just pour the half of the glass with the water, and then what you have to do, in 1 glass just dip the spoon inside the water. So what will happen when you are putting the spoon into the glass, before the water level up to here, now adding the water, adding the spoon into the glass, the arrangement will be go up, the water level will be go rise up, because the molecule of the spoon has made by the solid. So when the spoon is entering into the water glass, the water will it will also occupy the space, and the water level will be rise up, right? This is the understandable. We know already when we are putting some, we have already seen the marbles, we have put it the marbles into the glass in before activity, and the level of the water has risen up. That is, we have said the any molecule that have the space that will occupy the space. So this is the molecule of the spoon that is made by the solid, they have occupied the space into the glass and the water level will rise up. But what happen when you take a spoon of a sugar and 1 spoon of the sugar, and you have added the sugar into the glass and you just stir it. So what will happen? This is the before adding the sugar and this is after adding the sugar. So the level is not rise up, it will become on a same level. So why it is happen? We have added the sugar into the glass, so as per the theory it should be go rise up, the water level should be rise up, but the water is not rising up because after adding the sugar. So what is the reason? Actually the sugar particles will be dissolved into the water because the water is having the space between that. This is actually this you can see the blue dots are there. These blue dots will be show you the water molecules. This is we can show the intermolecular space between the water. There are the space between the water molecules, and this is the red color dots that show you the sugar particles adjusted between the water molecules. These blue dots are showing the water because there is a space between the molecules of the water. So that space will occupy by the molecules of sugar, and that is why there is no rise up into the water level, because there is a space are between the water molecules and the solid sugar. When you just stir it, so all, because it can be dissolved into the water, and when it is dissolved into the water, all the molecules of the sugar, they will settle in the spaces between present between the water molecules. So that is why it should be adjusted, and once it is adjusted, the water level will be not rise up, right? That is why after adding the sugar, the level of the water is become on a same level and it will not rise up. And when we have added a spoon into that, the solid molecules of the spoon will be not dissolved into the water, so it is not it is unable to settle into the spaces between the water molecule. So it will, the level will be rise up in the case of spoon, but level will be same in the case of sugar, because the molecules of the sugar will be settled inside the molecules of the water. So that will be show the water having, or any kind of the material they are having the intermolecular spaces, but that are the arrangement of the molecules are different. But in the case of the liquid, there are some space between the molecules of the water. So when we are dissolving any kind of the things which can be soluble, so it will be settled into the intramolecular spaces between the liquid, and the level will be not rise up. So that is the thing you have to keep in your mind. And then on the next we will see in the next slide. So increase, but when you are putting the sugar it will not increase. So this is the means in this activity just we have to make you understand the spaces present between the liquid molecule. Now in the next point we will see particles of the matter are always in the random motion, right? We have already told you the molecules are there, with the molecules or with the particles any matter will be made. So okay, there is a space between any kind of the matter we have understand. And one more thing I want to show you or tell you, that is addition, because this model I have shown you, that is a model of liquid. There are the spaces between a molecule of a liquid. Whether we are talking about a solid material, so there is a very little intermolecular space are there. It is very tightly packed together. That is why the solid will not easily break down, solid will not dissolve easily, because the molecule of the solid will very close together, and the molecule of the liquid, they are having little bit space between the molecule of a liquid. And when we are talking about the molecule of gas, they are having so many, means more space between the molecules. And why this is changing the space between different molecules? That is because of the less intramolecular force. When we are talking about the solid, there is a more intramolecular force, so there is a more means less space between the molecules of the solid. When we talk about the liquid, there is less intramolecular force as compared to the solid. That is why there is a more space between the molecule of liquid. That is opposite. If there is a more force, the molecules will come together. If there is less force, the molecules will go far together to means each other. That is why liquid can be moved into the boundaries. And then when we talk about the gaseous state, so the intermolecular force is very least into the gaseous molecules. That is why there is so large space between the molecule of gas. That is why gas can be moved, and gas can be moved in any direction wherever it is found the space. So on the next property we have to see that the molecules are in a same place or can be moved. So every molecule, whether it is solid, whether it is a molecule of gas, or whether it is a molecule of liquid, they are in a random motion. They will not just stand in a one place. So always the molecule of the matter will in a random motion. So now you just know that the matter is made up of the minute particles which have gap between them. There are the gap between the molecules, whether it is solid, liquid, or gas. So do these particles stand still in a bulk, or do they keep moving? Okay, so this can be better understood by the following activity. But before that, I just want to tell you, the molecules are always becoming in a motion, random motion, right? They are not just being in a one place. Either it is a molecule of solid also, the movement of the solid particle in a one place only, that is in a fixed position, in a fixed place, they are just moving on a one place. So and liquid molecule can be moved into the boundaries of the liquid, and gaseous molecule can be moved anywhere, whether it will get the space to move. So there are the movement of the molecules of the solid, liquid, and gas. So to understand the movement of the molecules of the liquid, we just having this activity. In that you just have to take the water into the cup, and then this water is clear water, right? Before you have just taken a water, that is a clear water. Then after that you have to just put the blue ink with the dropper. So once you are putting the blue ink into the water, after some time slowly you will observe the ink will be spread into the whole the water that are present into the cup, while you have not just disturbed it. Without disturbing, the molecule of the ink will be just distributed or just spread into the whole the water, and the color of the whole water will be changed. So how it is happen? You have not just stir it, you have not disturbed it. So why and how the molecules of the ink have distributed into whole the cup of the water? Because the molecules of the water always into the random motion, and where we have put it the ink, from there the molecules has moving into the another positions. So while moving the molecules of the liquid, they are having the ink with them, and this is the reason the ink will be spread into all the water, and it will becoming change the color of the water because of the ink. So it will prove the molecules of the liquid that are in a motion, right, because the water as well as the ink particles molecules are in continuous and random motion. So due to the motion, the blue colored particles of the ink spread all the over the water and give blue color to the water. So this will prove the molecules of the water also having in a motion. Because of that, the liquid or the ink, it's spreaded into everywhere into that cup. The second activity, we can say, we have to take a glass of the water and just put it the sawdust into that. So when you are putting the sawdust sprinklers, so some sawdust on it, what happen, you will notice that the particles of the sawdust move randomly on the surface of water. You can see the movement of the sawdust because the water molecules is moving around on the surface, and because the sawdust is very light into the weight, that is why it's not sink, and it is just moving onto the surface of water. So this is randomly moving particle of a sawdust. And why the movement of the sawdust is there? Because the water molecules are moving. So that is why we can say this, because the process, they are having the kinetic energy. This because they possesses the molecules of the water, they possesses the kinetic energy, and the kinetic energy increases with increase in the temperature and decrease in the temperature. When we are making the temperature increase of any molecule or any matter, so molecule will be having a kinetic energy. So this kinetic energy will be increased when we are increasing the temperature, or the kinetic energy of the molecules will decrease when you will decrease the temperature. So hence the movement of the particles increases or decreases with the increase or decrease in the temperature. You can take the example, when if you have put several quantity of the sugar into the water and you have dissolved it, so it will dissolve until a specific time period. After that, there is no space for the molecules of the sugar to dissolve into the water, and after that, if you want to dissolve some sugar into the water, it will be not dissolved. But once you increase the temperature, once you make a heat to that solution, then you can easily add some more quantity of the sugar into the same solution, because when you are giving the heat, the molecules of the water will be move faster because of the more kinetic energy, and some more amount of the sugar can be adjust into the same amount of the water. So that is why it can be moved with the increase, and when you become less the temperature of the molecules of the water, it will not add more sugar. Now the third point is particles of the matter attracts each other, right, because they are having the intramolecular force inside them, inside the particles of the water. So that is why they are attracting to each other, and they are holding the molecules to each other, and this attraction force are differ into the different matters. Like when we are talking about the matters of the solid, so it is having the more intramolecular force, and the less as compared to the solid, the liquid molecules having the less intramolecular force, and gaseous molecules having very least intramolecular force. That is why the solid is very harder, liquid is little bit less, and then solid is and the gas is very movable form. That is why, that is all because the intramolecular force. So intramolecular force will change, so it will also changing the gap between the molecules. So there are exists a force of attraction between the particles of molecules of the matter. Each and every particles of the matter, they are attracting to each and other. That is because of the intramolecular force which hold them together. That is why the molecules are together. The molecules of solid, liquid and gas are there together because of the intramolecular force. This is known as the intramolecular force of attraction, right. This is called intramolecular force of attraction, the attraction force between molecules of either solid, liquid or gas. This can be shown by the following activity, right. This activity we will continue in our next lecture, and up to that, just go through whatever the point we have studied, whatever the activity we have seen in this our discussion. What is molecules, what are the, how it can be made. Molecule will be made by the different atoms, right. The atoms can be a same kind or different kind, and just write down we can draw this module for this molecules of the water and how the sugar will be dissolved into the water. And we have already discussed how the arrangements are there, whether it is in a same or whether it will be a continuously motion. Then in our next lecture we will just start with this activity that will show you how the different molecules or different matters having the different force of attraction between the molecules of the matter. So see you in the next lecture. Bye.